Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining me this morning. My name is Juuso Santi, and I lead the CIM200 solution here at CIM. And for those that do not know us, we are CIM software. We have been developing Sage solutions for the past 30 odd years, and our CIM200 solution is Sage accredited manufacturing solution. So we have very, very close links with Sage. Today, I will talk about what CIM200 brings to the sales and purchase order processing in addition to standard Sage 200 functionality. Some of the functionality that we are bringing onto the table are on the screen, and I will talk about those today and give you a brief run through of most of them, so you get a bit of a flavor how they look like, what they can do. And when we are talking about manufacturing solution, we don't very often venture out to sales orders, quotes, as well as purchase orders and everything else that goes with it. But there are some shortfalls that we feel that Sage doesn't quite cover for the manufacturing industries. So firstly, if I look at the sales order and quotation enhancements, so we are allowing things like utilizing customer part numbers, having multiple delivery dates on single sales order lines. For those command lines that you frequently use, we do have a quick text library, which I will show you. And also, when can you actually sell something, or what date would be the earliest date that you can promise to deliver something. And then we are not going to look at that, but back-to-back orders can be quite a big thing. So you create an order and you can create the linked works orders directly from there, which is hard linked to the sales order or a quotation if you wanted to. On the quotation side of things, we have a little bit more enhancements, and we are probably spending most of the demonstration on the quotation side. But it's what we are allowing you to do is to have a config. You will be able to configure existing bills of materials, create new ones for those one-off items. We give you a greater visibility of costs associated with that quotation, as well as the expected revenue. And one quite a popular enhancement is the quotation revisions, which we will look at in a moment. On the purchase order side, it's a little bit lighter touch. So across all the CIM modules, we have introduced a audit log that includes purchase orders, sales orders, and such like. We have a quick text library available for the POP side of things as well. But one quite a nice feature is the new feature from this year, earlier this year, that was released in February, March, is OTIF for supplier performance tracking. So we used to be able to do that on the stock item level, but now you can do that on the supplier level as well. So we will be looking into that as well. So enough of me going through the PowerPoint. I don't particularly like PowerPoints myself, so I tried to keep it short and sweet. So if we just jump into the solution, and hopefully you can see what there is on the screen now. So standard Sage 200, and I'm pretty sure if you are watching this webinar, you would know that CIM200 is a module that is within Sage 200. So if we start going into sales orders and start looking at quotations, I did say that that's going to be featuring quite heavily. And Quotation revisions to start with. So let's sort it up by number. It's easier to see. So you can see a little suffix here saying quotation number 32/001/002. These are the iterations of a quotation. So if we have a look on the first iteration, we can see, okay, initially we quoted this customer a draw unit. Secondly, we quoted something else, but then we have the latest iteration, which is now on a document status of live. All the previous versions are lost. But of course, you can go back and change the status. So you could say, okay, the fourth iteration of that quotation actually was the one that went live. But what we can do is to go and have a look. And now we have actually introduced more line items. Therefore, the quotation has changed, but it might be that you have added elements that are optional. There's a number of reasons why you might want to make a new revision of that, and you can view the revision history directly from here and say like, okay, revision 3, you can go and view it from the screen directly, and is uh, then if you wanted to actually convert that onto a sales order, you will be able to go and convert first, reinstate the iteration 3 as a live one, and then you would be able to convert that onto a pro forma sales order or directly to a sales order if you wanted to. Mentioned you the costing analysis. So we splitting out now for the quotation all the costs of materials, all the associated operation resource costs, whether they are labor, machine, tooling, subcontract, or any other overheads. So we split those down. Also, we have an option to have a free text item as a configured item. I will go into that in a moment. And you have your potential revenue, and then all the you can do the matching. So get the profitability of that particular quotation as a whole. You have audit log available, so we can see when the quotation was created, what the line items being added, and such like. But if I go and start looking into the line items a little bit more in detail, so first of all, I have an existing bill of material here. We have the stock item alerts, so that's an addition to standard Sage, although they have introduced that to an extent on the latest version of Sage 200 that was released last week, but alerts being part of CIM200 for a number of years now. So here you can see we are editing the quotation line, and we now have a button called configure. It's quite a nice thing because what I can do is to start going through and customize this particular BOM item on the quotation just to make it as that one-off. Notice there's a 1200 mil unit carcass, and we have a 600 mil drawer that we quoted for. Why would we do that? So I would be able to go and do an alternative item on its place. Okay. Same with the operations. We can decide we are not painting it, so I would be able to delete that line, and it will be just assembled in-house. And then we have a costing analysis that we keep as a record of it. If I would cost it now, I would cost it for quantity of 1. And now my unit cost has changed for 1 because I have removed some elements um, of the bill of material. And if I would cost it to a different quantity, like for instance 10, we get a different unit cost because that takes into account a setup costs on the operations and such like. And then we have a markups that we can decide on each cost element what the selling price would be. And when I save it, it will bring in details, and we have so when you're changing the quantities, and we can recalculate the values, and we can build up a quantity breaks, which you can manually override on some areas like discounts, discount values, and such like on this screen in itself. We can also create a free text item with a completely blank bill of material, where you can start adding components, add labor cost, notes, attachments, drawings, everything you want, as well as costings. And you can view the previous costings and such like. Or if you want to, you can copy an existing bill of material and convert that, but that would be a free text item, so you don't have a stock item or bill of material record for it as yet. But if you wanted to create one at later stage, you can then, if let's say the quote converts, then you can go and say, okay, I want to create a stock item for that. I want to create a bill of material record for that, and I want to create all the orders for that. So that's all possible on the back of the quotation. You can also have multiple dates on sales orders as well as the um, quotations. So let's say, I would say we do one today, one in about a month's time. So you can have multiple delivery dates on a single line. Another nice little addition, and that's again true for the purchase orders, quotations, as well as the sales orders. What you can have is, if I add an item and a comment line, most of you would be using command lines, but we have all created a quick text library. So because I'm on the sales order side, I will have a library of commonly used sales order quick text command lines. But if I would come from a purchase order, I would have a commonly used purchase order command line there, or you can select both. What we can also do is once you have selected it from the library, is to change the text. So it is editable. It is a template that you can then update at the time. So that is for quotation side of things. So if I quickly show a sales order, and I'm gonna chance it, and this time I'm actually gonna enter it live. So what we have introduced is that I have selected a customer. So we have a field here saying customer part number. You can start utilizing a customer part numbers for if some of your customers want to use their part numbers on their orders, for instance. You can add them in against the stock item record, and this list here will be filtered for those particular items that are for this customer, or they have their customer part number for it. So I can select it, and again, the stock item alert pops up. Select a warehouse for it, and I could say a quantity, how many do I sell? And from here, because it's a built item, I could create a back-to-back works order when I save this item. So what it does is just to create a works order in the background that's hard linked to this sales order. When it comes into the completion of the works order, if it's enabled, it will then automatically allocate it to or it will suggest to allocate it to this sales order. Nice item from sales order is a stock profile that gives you a full visibility of all the stock movements on this particular item, whether there's any purchase orders, sales orders, works orders, and such like. And if I put a couple of other items there, so let's put a trusty blender. Uh, let's put it from there. Let's see, we put 20 of those and put few items there just to see what happens. So, and now this is available from quotations as well. But if I go and have a look, when could I actually deliver these without, as you probably noticed, everything is for today at the moment on sales order. But what I can do from here is to click on available to promise. I have a number of ways how it will behave. These are settings on the background that default's been set. But I can then go and start calculating when can I actually promise them. And you can see there's an option to generate multiple promise dates per line, or you can update all the lines to the latest day that you can fulfill the full line quantity. So if I open this up a little, we can see that we can, of these items, some of them can be dispatched today, but reminder is only the 14th of July. On this one, 11th of July, same with the espresso machine. This takes into account the lead times from the components. If it's something that you buy and sell, it's just the supplier lead time. If it's something that you make, it takes into account the manufacturing time as well. Okay, so that's quite a useful feature in terms of when can you promise to deliver something. Um, Another thing we do have is that I did mention the audit log early on, but I'd also promise to tell you about the supplier performance tracking. So what we used to have in CIM200, so let's go and pick up an item from here, is on a stock item detail on suppliers, we had an OTIF percentage, which measures stock item per supplier over the last 2 years. And that's the only parameter you could put you could use. Now, what we introduce is a supplier OTIF inquiry. So if I pick up the first one, it defaults to 2 years. You can change the default period of time to whatever you like. But for me, it's 2 years. And there you can see some lines and whether they've been overdue, whether they've been late, and what we class as the OTIF percentage. So on this one, we can go and view the receipts of this order line. We see something was delivered early, it wasn't late at all, and then we say, okay, these were the reminder was delivered 29 days late. So that gives an idea. So that's 50% of the line was delivered in full, on time in full. So all the other stats are on the top here. You can see the stock items that we have ordered from them at that time. And as you're probably aware, you can order other items from a supplier. They don't have to be actually a supplier on a supplier's tab of a stock item. So we can go and filter it by the items that we actually agreed to buy from them. And we can extend this period to whatever we like. And just to show, if we were to have a look at the performance changes over the period of time, it takes a little bit longer because there's a lot more data in deliveries in 2022. So since over a period of 3 years, the delivery metrics looks pretty good, but there is a little thing here: requested dates are not populated on this date, this supplier, so we can exclude anything that does any orders that don't have the requested date. So if you leave that blank, which is allowed in Sage, we will class it as on time, because it is actually we have no metric or we have no date to measure it against. There's a high level summary of what we are doing on sales and purchase order processing, rather than just focusing on a strict manufacturing principles. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to use the Q&A or chat on Teams. I'm more than happy to answer any that you may have. Okay, I don't think there are any questions. So thank you very much for attending, and I hope to speak to you soon.